you need to cut your hair short now. And if a pixie cut is too short, then you can do a chin length bob. That's what my client Emma decided. Since I started doing her hair, we have gone from a shag to a pretty standard Robert, and now we're going for the short bob. I started by sectioning everything out, and then we're going to cut the back first. I'm going to be using graduation with a low angle. I'm using a low angle because I don't want to create a really big Karen stack in the back. We just want a little bit of a stack to create some roundness in the shape in the back. I am keeping my cutting line parallel to my parting line. And like I said, I'm using a low angle, and that just means I'm only elevating the hair a little bit past natural fall. Now, Emma's hair is pretty curly, so some would think that that gives you room to be sloppy with your technique. But whether that's true or not, I see this as an opportunity to practice anyway. There were a lot of times where I had to recomb the subsection because I didn't have a strong, clear guide, which means I was either elevating to the wrong angle or accidentally over-directing to one side or the other, sometimes having to do it upwards of 5 times before making my cut. And after the 5th or even 7th time of repulling that same subsection, it can be really tempting to cut that hair on a sloppy guide. And that is where discipline comes in. But moving on to the sides, I'm using slight diagonal forward sections that are almost vertical and cutting my line with 0 elevation. I'm using the fine teeth of my comb to have a little more tension, and you already saw it, but when I was cutting underneath the ear, I tapped the hair below and above it to release some tension. Otherwise, the hair hanging over the ear would end up being too short. For the bangs, I started in the middle, elevating at about 90 degrees, and I want each section of the bangs to get a little longer as we move out towards the sides. So I over-directed each section back to the previous section, and then she wanted a little bit of face framing, so I did some slide cutting on the front of the sides. After that, I did a little bit of layering through the back, being careful not to make the shape too round because she did emphasize that she didn't want that. Before moving on to each new step, I like to grab hair from the same place on both sides and pull them out to the elevation they were cut at to make sure they're even. For styling, I grabbed Hair Balm by Hair Story. This is a super lightweight product that almost has the consistency of like a lotion, which is great because a lot of curly hair products can either be too heavy or greasy depending on your hair type. Link in bio, by the way. I had to reset her hair and diffuse it again because I was scrunching her hair with my hands and it got too frizzy for her. A lot of my clients are alternative kids who want that like big frizzy hair, so I forget to not do that sometimes. But after diffusing it a little more gently, we are done. So here is Emma before, and here she is after. I think this length suits her really well, so I really like how the haircut came out, but let me know what you think in the comments. You can check out the info for the scissors I use on screen now. If you get some, make sure to use my discount code to get 15% off. If you're still here, comment your favorite drink to get at a coffee shop, and thank you for watching. I'll get out of your hair now.